Hello, hello. It's a very short and sweet one today because it's an October wrap up and I only read 2 books in October, so we love that. We don't. And I'm really quite disappointed in myself because October is like one of my favourite months of the year. It's my birthday month, it's spooky season, you know. I was really hoping to like read some thrillers or like a really deep atmospheric book. I mean, for a lot of it I was reading Hangs a Man, which I finished at the beginning of November because it was our book club book. I mean, it was delayed from September. That's been a whole thing anyway. But for a large chunk of October I was reading Hangs a Man, which is a really gorgeous, eerie, haunting book. So that was the thing that was giving me the vibes, but I didn't finish it in October, so I can't talk about it in the wrap up. Watched a few horror films, so that was like holding up the spooky vibes, but really like quite disappointed in myself. So I'm really hoping to just make November like October 2.0, and then I can read some sort of atmospheric creepy books in November and then, you know, get all happy in time for Christmas. So yeah, like I said, neither of the books that I read in October were spooky books, so really disappointing, but anyway, we're gonna talk about them anyway. So the first book that I finished in October was Beautiful World, Where Are You by Sally Rooney, and like I said, this video is going to be quite short and sweet because I've already done a 25-minute long review of this book, which will be on my channel. I'll link it somewhere as well in the description. And I said in that review that this book sits in the middle of Sally Rooney's other work, so it's not quite as good as Normal People for me, but I enjoyed it a lot more than Conversation with Friends. And in case you've been living under a rock, this is obviously Sally Rooney's newest release, and it follows 2 best friends, Alice and Eileen, Alice and Eileen, and I believe it is Alice that is an author and has just moved out sort of into the country, and Eileen lives in Dublin and is sort of a bit lost at her job, is not really that motivated, and we find out more about their friendship through a series of emails to each other, and like they talk to each other about what's going on in their like romantic life, and they raise a lot of existential questions about the world and class and are all the little trivial things that we talk about and worry about day to day really important if society is sort of encroaching towards a like never-ending doom. It's very cheery, and as always I found a lot to like in Sally Rooney's writing style. There's some really gorgeous passages in here, a few of them I read out in my review, so I won't do that again here. But I think ultimately what let it down for me was the ending, and obviously I'm not going to tell you why, but if you have read it and you do want to know what I thought about the ending, you can go and watch my review. But ultimately it just felt a little bit tonally different from the rest of the book and not in a way that I liked so much, so that did let it down a bit for me. But ultimately I did really enjoy reading this, and I enjoyed being part of the discourse, and I enjoyed sort of reading it at a similar time to everybody else and seeing people update their reviews and all of that stuff, so I have enjoyed being part of like the cultural movement. But yeah, this book was sort of a mixed bag for me. And the next and last book that I read in October was Anyway the Wind Blows by Rainbow Rowell, which is just a really gorgeous object. I love the sprayed edge, I love the illustrated cover. It's just such a big, chunky, like comforting book. And I took this with me when I was staying with my partner in Cambridge for a few days, and it was a little bit ambitious because, let's be honest, I've not really had my reading mojo for the last few months. For the last few months I've only been reading like 3 or 4 books, and those books haven't been that substantial really, so to take like a nearly 600-page hardback, a book which is the 3rd in a series that I haven't read in years, it was a little bit ambitious, I'm not gonna lie, but something about it just called out to me. I put it in my September TBR, I think, because I said that I wanted to have the vibe of like schools going back, because I've obviously not got school or university anymore, so this takes place at a magic school, and I think I just wanted that vibe of like, hey, it's September, like it's time for the schools to go back, it's time for like academia. But obviously I didn't end up reading it in September, but I read it in October, and it was just wow. I think I sort of told myself that I didn't really care about this series ending so much because I think I found the second book quite underwhelming, and I just thought, I guess, that it's a time in my life that had passed, but I ordered the 3rd book just because I'm a bit of a completionist, and I was like, I want to just finish up this series at some point. I'll just, you know, put it away until I feel like reading it. And I just had so much fun with it. Like, I was attached in ways that I didn't know, and as it was coming to an end I was feeling quite emotional, and it was basically everything that I think the second book attempted to do but didn't do quite so well. So obviously it being the 3rd book in the series, it's probably gonna me talking about it is probably going to spoil some aspects of the first 2 books, but I think if you haven't read Carry On by now, you probably never will, so I'm just going to go ahead and talk about it. So at the end of the first book, our hero, Simon Snow, basically loses his magic, and that is a very big deal, because up until this point he was the chosen one, and then he suddenly loses his magic, and he has a bit of an identity crisis. And that identity crisis is explored in book 2, which did feel a lot like a filler book for me. I had no idea what the point of that book was, but then I was like, oh, is this the point? Like, it's a meandery storyline because Simon has no idea what's going on and he's sort of just been knocked off course. But ultimately I thought it was quite an unsatisfying reading experience. And then we pick up in this book and Simon is still in that mindset, and he breaks up with Baz, who's been his like long-term vampire boyfriend up until this point, and it's basically about how Baz sort of fights for him and how they rebuild their relationship, and Simon basically trying to get back to himself after completely losing his identity and finding out that he can be somebody without magic and he can still add value to the lives of the people that he loves without having magic. And then about halfway through there is a new guy who starts calling himself the chosen one and is like replacing Simon, and he has some ulterior motives going on, and that all starts to unfold, and I just loved it. I just loved it. It was exactly what I needed. I don't like saying I was in a reading slump because I feel like naming the thing makes the thing more powerful. But I haven't really been captured by a book the way I was with this for a while, maybe. I don't know. Because I did finish it in a couple of days. I just picked it up and I just wanted to return to these characters, and I read it in like 3 sittings. You know, every night once my partner had gone to sleep, I spent like a good hour and a half to 2 hours reading this book. And it just kept me really great company, and it was so nice to be back with characters that felt familiar. And I haven't read a series in a while, I don't think. I mean, excluding the Vampire Academy reread that I did in the summer, I haven't been reading series really or keeping up with them. So it was actually just so nice to like feel like I was returning to a world that I knew, and getting closure on this series, and like feeling validated that like it was a good series. The second book just didn't really work for me, but like I do care about these characters and where they end up, and like I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. So what I would say is that if you read the second book and were disappointed with that potentially, don't let that put you off from the third one, because this might give you everything that you thought was lacking in the second book, and it's just nice to have closure on these characters in this series. So yeah, that is it. That's everything that I read in the month of October, and I'm really hoping that November is a little bit better, because I just don't like this not reading thing. It just makes me feel weird, and I guess, you know, having this channel, I do feel like a bit of a fraud every time I don't have a lot of books to talk about. I know it's like quality over quantity, all of that, I get that, but yeah, it can be a little bit like, I don't know what word it is, like exposing sometimes when I have to sit here and be like, yeah, I only read 2 books, but it's fine. I know it's fine, but I would like to read more just because I want to read more, not because I need to hit some magic number, but I just do want to be reading more. So I will definitely be trying to prioritize that in November, and I think also it helps, to be honest, that the weather is changing, getting a bit like crap, because I'm going to want to go out less and stay in and read more, so hopefully that's going to help me, and I can read some like vibey, creepy books in November to make up for what I didn't read in October. So yeah. As always, please let me know if you've read either of the books that I've spoken about and what you thought of them, or if you're wanting to read them, all of that good stuff. I would love to hear from you in the comments, and I will see you very soon with another video soon. Bye.